Chapter 15. The Saucepan Man Goes to the Wrong Land. Mother and the children stared at the weird old saucepan man as he came in at the gate. He wore an extra large sized saucepan for a hat, and as he came, he knocked two pans together and sang a strange nonsense song that went like this: 2 beans for a pudding, 2 cherries for a pie, 2 legs for a table with an ahi tiddle hi. At the last hi, he banged on the door with the saucepan. Mother opened it. "Don't make so much noise," she said. "No, I haven't seen any boys," said the saucepan man as he clashed his pans together so loudly that Mother jumped. Then he caught sight of the children and waved to them eagerly. "Oh, there you are. Moonface told me where you lived. Whoever is he?" said Mother in wonder. "Children, this is a strange old man, all right." "Oh, yes," said Joe, hoping that Mother wouldn't ask too many questions. "Can we take him to the garden and talk to him, Mother? He makes such a noise indoors." "Very well," said Mother, who wanted to get on with her washing. "Take him along." "A song?" said the saucepan man obligingly. "Did you say you wanted a song?" "Madame," he began to sing again and crashed his pans in time with his song. 2 pigs for the pantry, 2 shoes for the horse, 2 hats for the tigers, pink ones, of course. The children hustled him out to the back garden. "That's a very, very silly song of yours," said Bessie loudly right in his ear. "What's it called?" "It hasn't got a name," said the saucepan man. "I make it up as I go along. It's quite easy. Every line, but the last one begins with the word 2. I'm sorry you think it's silly." He looked rather offended. "Don't be cross," said Joe, trying to put things right. "Moss?" said the saucepan man, looking round. "I would sit on it, but I can't see any moss to sit on." "Oh, he's gone deaf again," said Joe. "I wonder why he's come to see us." Most unexpectedly, the saucepan man heard and grinned. "I've come to ask you all to tea in my cottage," he said. "Do come." "Will Mr. What's-his-name be there?" asked Joe, who wasn't at all anxious to meet him again. "Yes, you'd better brush your hair," said the saucepan man, looking at Joe's untidy hair. "I said, will Mr. What's-his-name be there?" said Joe loudly. "Something in the air?" said the saucepan man, and he looked up anxiously. "Not a thunderstorm, you don't mean?" "No, I certainly don't mean a thunderstorm," said Joe with a groan. "Yes, well, come. We must ask Mother first." Mother said they could go, although she didn't very much like the look of the old saucepan man. "Good day," she said to him as he went off with the children. "What, hey?" said the saucepan man, in surprise, but the children wouldn't let him stop and argue about the hay, and they dragged him off down the lane, clanking and crashing as his saucepans moved round him. You could hardly see if he was dressed in any coat or trousers, because he was so hung about with pans and kettles. He really was a most peculiar sight, but he had such a twinkly sort of face that the 3 children couldn't help liking him and trusting him. They soon came to the faraway tree and saw that Moonface had thought of a marvelous idea. He had borrowed Mother Washalot's biggest washing basket and let it down on a rope. Then, as they were all safely in, he and Silky meant to haul them up to save them the long, long climb. "That's a really good idea," said Joe, delighted, and they all climbed in. It was a bit difficult to get the saucepan man in too, but they managed at last, though he seemed to find it most uncomfortable to sit on his saucepans. "Up we go," shouted Joe as the basket sprung upwards through the branches. It ran very smoothly, and the children enjoyed the strange ride. At last they came to a big branch and stepped out on it. It was quite near Moonface's house at the top. Moonface was there, winding up the rope, a grin on his big, shining face. "How do you like that?" he asked. The saucepan man looked at him anxiously. "Cat?" he said. "Another cat? Dear me! I hope it won't escape into my land. I've got my mice there." "Now we'll go looking for cats again," said Bessie, and sure enough, the saucepan man began to peer here and there, calling, "Psst, psst, psst." "Never mind him," said Moonface. "Go on up the ladder. He wants you to go to tea with him in his funny saucepan-y house." "Come on, saucepan man," called Joe. "If you want us to come to tea, we'd better go." The saucepan man heard. He stopped looking for cats and ran up the ladder with a bound, and he was through the hole in the cloud and right above. And no sooner had he gone out of sight than he began to yell, "Ooh! Ow! Wow!" The children listened in alarm. "Whatever's the matter with him?" said Joe. "Crash, bang, clang, smash!" "He sounds as if he's rolling about on a kettle in his saucepan," said Bessie. "What can he be doing?" "Ow!" shouted the saucepan man above them. "Stop it! Ow! Stop it!" "Somebody must be attacking him," cried Joe, and he leapt up the ladder. "Come on, everyone! We'll soon send any enemies off." He shot up the ladder, followed by Bessie, Fanny, and Moonface. They all clambered through the hole in the clouds and stood high in the land above. But oh my goodness me! It was no longer the land of the Saucepan Man, that tiny little cloud-edged country. It was another land altogether. My land is gone! Shrieked the Saucepan Man. I didn't know it had, and this is somewhere else. Oh no, oh no. No wonder, he said. Oh, the bit of flat field he was standing on suddenly gave a shiver like a jelly, and then as suddenly tipped itself so that it made it a hill. The Saucepan Man rolled down at top speed, and all his pans clattering like milk churns on the railway station. This is Rocking Land, said Moonface in dismay. Quick, come back to the ladder and get down the hole before we've forgotten where it is. Come on, Saucepan Man, come over here to us. Bus, did you say? Shouted back the Saucepan Man, picking himself up and looking round. I can't see a bus. I'd like to catch one. Come to us, to us, to us, shouted Joe in despair. The hole through the clouds is here. We must get back again quickly. The Saucepan Man began to run downhill to them, but the ground all around suddenly tripped backwards, and he and the children in the Moonface found themselves running downhill, away from the hole in the clouds where the precious ladder was. They tried to stop. They tried to walk back up the sudden hill, but the land tipped up all the more, and at last they couldn't stand up, but had to lie down. Then they all began to roll downhill, and how they rolled, over and over and over, with the Saucepan Man making a frightful clatter with all his pans. Ow, ow, I cried everyone. We've lost the hole, shouted Joe, but before he could say any more, he bumped into a bush that knocked all the breath out of him. Soon everyone lay in a heap at the bottom of the hill and tried to get back their breath. Now we're in a fix, said Bessie, dusting herself. What a very tiresome land to have got into. Does it do this sort of thing all the time, Moonface? Oh, yes, said Moonface. It never stops. It heaves up here and sinks down there and rocks to and fro and gives sudden little jerks. People do say there's a giant just underneath trying to throw the land off of his back. Tomorrow we will read chapter 16, called What Happened in the Rocking Land.